Surprise, surprise, motherfucker! The king is back!
It's pushing the water, and there's a jogger, actually. Look at this. Wow. It's a Florida man right there for you, Blake, jogging in the hurricane.
If you pan it down here, you see it's about 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's not a car or a person in sight. If you pan over here, it's the same thing.
I know you're gonna have to do almost everything alone up here. You know what you gotta do. Do it. Do it.
Right now in life, your family's looking for that one guy right now. They're looking for that one guy who's strong, who's that pillar for the family in hard times. Make sure they look around and find you. These are the times right now for you to step up. Be that guy that can take anything.
I don't believe in talent. I'm here because I worked hard my whole life.
We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of 2-a-days or 5-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way.
It wasn't about the potential. It wasn't about the genetics. It was about the perseverance. And it wasn't about being the hardest worker in the room. That's what got them there. And it didn't happen overnight. They got knocked down more than they ever stood up. But they kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going. Because what else is the alternative? To be average again. That sucks, man. And I'll never accept mediocre again. I'm always going to give it my 110%. That's the only thing I can ever say a solid day's work.
Louis, a moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory. You remember that?
This dude's mom had told everybody at the beauty shop that her son was going to beat Mike Tyson. She bragged.
But then his mom died, and he decided he was going to f Mike Tyson up for his mother.
Buster Douglas got knocked out. Nobody ever got knocked out by Mike Tyson and ever got back up.
It was almost a 10 count. He was stumbling. They were 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. Saved by the bell. And goes to his corner. The whole world is like, yep, that's it. Once he comes back out, that's it. Mike's gonna just hammer him. And exactly that. Mike Tyson came out like, I got him. I got this kid up against the rope. Listen to me, many of you right now, life's got you up against the rope. You can't give up. I need you to do what Buster Douglas did. Buster Douglas started fighting back. And the world was shocked. Goliath has been knocked down. What happened? And they went to Buster Douglas and they asked Buster Douglas simply like, what happened? And Buster Douglas said, listen to me, it's real simple. Before my mother died, she told the whole world that I was gonna beat Mike Tyson. And 2 days before the fight, my mother died. Buster Douglas had a decision to make. When his mother died, he could die with his mother, or he made a decision, I can wake up and I can live for mom. And he knocked Mike Tyson out.
Look at that! He knocked Mike Tyson down for the first time in his career. Mike Tyson hits the canvas. He's in big trouble.
After that fight when I lost, and I'm looking at all these people and they're all celebrating my demise and saying I'm done and this, and it certainly lit a fire under my belly. Every single person doubted me. Every single fighter doubted me. Doubt me now.
They all doubt me. Every one of you doubt me. Woo, doubt me now.
You know the truth. You know the darkness. You were there. You know this. There was no one there to go in there. It was you. You had nobody anyway, mother. So see how I'm talking myself right now? That's me. That fires me the up. So those things that come out of me, that extract from me in the darkness.
I wasn't invited to parties or friendly gatherings on the weekend. So on Fridays and Saturdays, I would go in my rec room with my basketball and basically dribble myself to sleep. During those lonely hours in the rec room, I discovered the hunger, the motivation, and the desire to be the best possible basketball player that I could be. And here I am today.
You do your own thing, especially when everyone else isn't doing it, they call you crazy, whatever else, you in here, and people driving by being like, what the f is that guy doing up so late? Well, what's up so late mean? I don't know.
When people don't understand you anymore, you're in that spot of obsession and drive, where people are like, what the f is wrong with this guy? You will never understand what is wrong with me. And that's why I'm so glad you don't, because I'm in the right spot.
Mediocre people don't like high achievers, and high achievers don't like mediocre people.
Yeah, what's the central part of your training? Is it running? Is it sparring?
Central part is dodging the nightclubs and the parties and the girls. You want the truth? And being in the bed by yourself at 9 o'clock at night. And if you can get by that, you'll make it. And that's the truth. And I tell you the truth.
If you stay in bed, if you stay on the couch, if you stay in your comfort zone, if you only do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, if you get up, if you grind, if you are relentless, if you work as hard as possible, when other people are slacking off, your life will be easy.
There's only one option. Stay hard. I know what darkness looks like. I know what it feels like to be alone with no motivation, no drive, no passion. And what has to come out of your soul in the darkest of times is what you just did right there. So that's what I do. For the first 20-some years of my life, it was just darkness. But if you are able to get up every morning, have no passion, no drive, no motivation, no and still get up with that kind of fire, you will be successful in life. I guarantee you that.
I'm alone and look at me. There's nobody around. Nobody likes me, man. It is what it is. Sometimes in life, people are not going to be around you to motivate you. They're not going to be around you to push you, to celebrate you, to applaud you. You got to do it on your own. That's what I'm doing right now.
I don't care about anybody else. I'm in a battle with the only person that makes sense. I'm in a battle with the only person that I really want to be, and that's me.
How I'm able to just extract dopamine, the good dopamine whenever I want. Man, I've trained 99% of my life alone. No one pat me on the back. I did all of the work alone. And while I'm still hard on myself, I know what I did. So whenever times get bad for people, all this, who's gonna carry the boats and love, that's real. I hate that people know me for that guy, because that guy is not every day. Like when they see me, they want that energy. That's not me every day. I can extract it immediately when I need to, because when you train alone, and I lived alone for so many years in this misery, and you're able to get out of it by yourself, I can take myself to such a level of real passion and purpose. And like the feeling I get is something I can't even explain by myself. I don't need anyone. That's why people come to me to motivate them. No one can motivate me.
It's 2 a.m. right now. No one here. Mano to mano, me and you, and where we want to go tomorrow. 2 a.m., not a person's here. I can scream my off. No one hears me. I can cry. I can myself. I can put an honest day's work in here that more than anyone does in a week. And no one sees it. Our competition's asleep right now. We're getting ahead of that competition.
And if you are someone who's ambitious, and this is me just talking specifically to you, because there's only a few people who are watching this who really are, and you'll know that if it's you. You have to get used to being alone. I used to think that there was something wrong with me, when in reality, I just didn't understand what the nature of being exceptional meant. To be exceptional means that you are the exception. It means that you are not normal. And so it's normal for normal people to find you abnormal if you do things that are not normal. Don't let people who have mediocre goals deter you from taking actions that make you great, because it makes you different.
What makes one guy a champion, one person a champion, and the other one not?
It's drive. It's the will. There's certain people that grow up with a tremendous hunger, and it's usually kids that have struggled when they were kids. When you grow up comfortably, and in comfort and in peace and happiness and all those things, that will produce a very balanced person and a good person, but it will not create the will and the determination and the hunger that you need to be the best in the world.
In life, if you want to win, you don't need to be the smartest, and a lot of times you don't even need to be the best. You just need to be that f***ing guy that never gives up. And we all know that one person that no matter what you throw at them, no matter how many times you knock them down, they're gonna get up and they're gonna stand in glory and in honor and face their issues head on. That guy, that is the guy you need to be.
The one thing that made me who I am today is being vulnerable. It's breaking myself down to the absolute rock bottom and being able to tell people who I am. And that's how I fixed it. Literally, you know, life created this person, me. Life created me to be this person that I was back in the day. And I had to realize, man, that's okay, man. It's not my fault. Now I gotta go back and fix this though. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where the started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you. And that's when I was like, hey, I'm up. I'm gonna go back and fix this though.
You got to be honest with yourself
100%
about where you're at.
Everybody's asleep, man, or just getting home after a long night. You know, going out there partying. It's Friday night. It's close to 3 in the morning right now. You know, the thing is, man, it's always going to be a party. There's always going to be a time to celebrate and a time to join friends or a day to, I mean, the bars are always open. Always open. No matter how old you are, they're always open, you know? What's not always open is the opportunity to check the box in life. You know, to achieve your dreams. That's not always open, man.
How'd you become that guy?
You know what? I grew up not that guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of people put a title on me. They see me now as the guy that with his shirt off, who can do 4,030 pull-ups in 17 hours, who can run 205 miles in 39 hours, who can do all this crazy shit. But what they don't understand is they don't understand the journey that it took me to get to this point. I had two options. To either be that 300-pound guy who sprayed for cockroaches and made $1,000 a month, and at 24 years old, knowing when I'm 50 years old, I can reflect on this and think about what guy I never became, or I can totally just sack it up and fail and fail and fail until I succeed.
Anytime I was in the gym, I was happy. You know, whatever's going on in my life, good or bad, I go to the gym, I exercise, and that for me is, exercise is the best form of medication. I always felt happy after a workout or after training. So when I was stopped training, I was hanging around with the wrong people or whatever, you know.
Somehow get a different outcome that everyone else does.
If you fake bravery when you're terrified, that is bravery. And I kind of feel like motivation is the same thing. If you do the thing when you're feeling unmotivated, that is motivation.
That's it. Staying motivated, take some action. Because yeah, nothing changes and nothing changes, man.
What's something difficult you're going through that people don't often see?
I mean, my mind is a storm. And I don't think most people would want to be me. They may think they would want to be me, but they don't know. They don't understand.
How are you doing?
In the grand scheme of things, I can't complain.
Do you get lonely?
Sometimes, but my kids and friends keep me company.
So not existential.
There are many nights I sleep alone. I don't have to, but I do.
Without that work, no one in this room would know who I am except my family. So to all the kids around the world watching and aspiring to be like one of us or even on the stage someday, put the work in and watch the magical ride you go on.
The Lonely Chapter describes a time in which you're growing, you're changing as a person, and you're now so different that you can no longer resonate with your old set of friends, but you're not sufficiently developed that you've got the new set of friends that you're going to grow into. And this is the Lonely Chapter. And the problem with it is that you're always, the desire to sort of regress back to where you were is always going to be there. And all of my friends are taking the piss. Oh, not drinking again. Too good for us, are we? Not going out again this week. Oh, okay. Well, enjoy staying in home and reading. Nerd. So this Lonely Chapter is a period through which I think everybody needs to squeeze. Anybody that decides to go from a place they are to a place that they want to be.
I isolate myself. I don't look at messages on Instagram. I don't send messages on Instagram. I don't go out. You would not like my life. I live alone, and sometimes I'm like, hello. Make sure my voice still works. I take away all distractions.
I had to stop thinking normal. I can no longer be a common man walking around doing common things. But no one taught me this stuff. It wasn't like I paid a trainer to come train me. Jenny Craig didn't come down and miracle my ass. None of this happened. It was on me. And that's the thing you have to realize. Everything you do, you may have some support, you may not, but it's on you. You have to make the decision whether you want to be a badass or whether you just want to be mediocre and everything's okay.
Imagine you could have anything that you want, anything that you can hold in your mind on a continuing basis, you can have. Anything that you are crystal clear about wanting and are willing to pay the price to get, you can have. So clarity is the key. Be clear about what you want. Be clear about what you have to do to get it. Be clear about your vision. Be clear, speak, walk, talk, and act with clarity.
Heroes and villains always have the same backstory, pain. The difference is what they choose to do about it. Villain says, the world hurt me, I'll hurt it back. The hero says, the world hurt me, I'm not going to let it hurt anybody else. Heroes use pain, villains are used by it.
You know, there comes a day, man, everyone's gonna have this day. There comes a day where being average, being mediocre is just sickening to you. It's just sickening, it makes you want to throw up. Because you've seen people with far less talent than you. As you're growing up with them, their childhood buddies, whatever else, they didn't have what you had. Yet now they're become something that you haven't. There comes that day, it's either when you're young, you know, and it strikes you on the baseball field because you're sick of striking out, or it's when you get fired from your 5th job, you know, and your wife and kids are on your ass, you don't know how to support them anymore. There comes a day where push comes to shove, where being mediocre, being like average and just burns and sucks so much. You can't deal with it one more day, and you get off your ass and you create something that's always been there. It's always been inside of you trying to come out, but you've never wanted to unwrap it because it's too much pain and commitment. You were scared you were gonna fail. You were scared if you started, you never finish it. You didn't want to tell anyone about it. You knew it was there, but you never wanted to embark on it until something hits. You get fired or somebody else gets success, remind you of what you could have been. And then the fucking spark is born. And no matter what happens, I'm never gonna be in this boat again. And you get up and you go, even if it gets knocked down, you just keep going, you're a wild man. And life has never been so sweet. That can happen at an early age, it can happen at a later age. It's gonna happen to somebody no matter what, it's gonna happen to you. And when it does happen to you, thank your lucky stars that finally you're alive. It's time to unwrap the potential you can be. Superior, man. It's within you. It's within every single one of us. And the people that have risen to that level were no different than any one of us. It's just they believed it and they're willing to work their ass off to get it.
The most driven individuals, they live a life for many years and certain times without balance. Everybody strives for balance, balance, balance. You can't be the best at something and try to balance everything else around your life. There is going to be times where things are going to be, but you know.
One day you're going to see it, that happiness was always about the discovery, the hope, the listening to your heart, and following it wherever it chose to go. Happiness was always about being kinder to yourself. It was always about embracing the person you were becoming. One day you will understand that happiness was always about learning how to live with yourself, that your happiness was never in the hands of others. One day you will realize that true happiness comes from within, and no external factors can define it. It was always about you. It was always about you.
Don't ever think or believe that you gotta smoke what they smoke, drink what they drink, wear what they wear, be a part of what.
Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot.
At night, and I don't know what it is about it, man, but like, man, it's just the air smells a little bit better right now. When you say you're gonna do something and then you follow through and you do it, not at the end when you cross the marathon, you finish it, or your hands raised. I'm talking about right now. The small steps in between the big successes that everyone sees. No one sees this. It's the moments in life, the decisions you make on a moment-to-moment basis that add up to be me, who I am, my guy. Repeat that over and over and over again.
Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry I can't be with you tonight. However, I couldn't completely miss the chance to take a moment to share some thoughts with all of you. It presented a moment to pause and reflect on what I've learned throughout my basketball career. The lesson I cherish the most is how important it is to love what you do. All the hard work and perseverance will pay off. When you know you're truly giving it your all, there's no greater feeling in the world. I once had a guidance counselor tell me that I shouldn't play basketball, that it would never amount to anything for me. And you know what? Much to your surprise, I took that counselor's advice. I took it, and please know I'm thinking of you.
There's times where
you're going to have to do it alone. There's not going to be any team support. There's not going to be any family support. There's not going to be any friend support. There's going to be times where you got to go and do it yourself, and you got to do it alone. And those are the times that make a difference. Those are the times that count. Those are the times where you have to dig deep yourself to get the job done. And if you can make that happen, you will win.
They're telling you you're up and this could be hard, but for some reason, you put so much practice into you that you can ignore every one of them that are telling you you're not gonna make it and still be able to make it because they know. But you still had the conviction that I know I can do this. And that's what it took for me to get here.
If you have a belief and you can't explain why you believe it, it's not yours, it's someone else's.
Your pride and your ego has been killing your career growth. Your could be on another level. You know better, but you're deciding to not do better. You are a lazy, unprofessional, mean attitude having, and yet when things are not happening good for you, when things are not coming your way, when things are not happening as fast as you want them to happen, you blame everybody else and what they're doing and saying, and you completely disown everything that you're doing to contribute to your career not going to another level. You know better, but you don't want to do better. This is uncomfortable, but I'm telling y'all the truth.
Take ownership. Take extreme ownership. Don't make excuses. Don't blame any other person or any other thing. Get control of your ego. Don't hide your delicate pride from the truth. Take ownership of your shortfalls, take ownership of your problems, and then take ownership of the solutions that will get those problems solved.
We don't want to be left alone by ourselves with ourselves. So we come in and we sit down and we get on our phone, or we turn on the TV, or we go wherever, we do whatever, because we don't want to face the reality of being by ourselves with ourselves. Start making yourself a companion that you're comfortable with. If you had a friend, if you had a person you're going to sit down and spend all the time with, what would you want from that person? What would you want? Well, I would want to spend time with somebody who's honest. Makes sense? I don't want to spend time with somebody who's going to be lying to me all the time. Someone who's going to gently tell me the truth about myself. One of the hardest things sometimes for the human to do is get to the point where they stop lying to themselves, where they tell themselves the truth. They speak the truth to themselves. Now, you got to face the reality of who you are. You got to face the reality of what you are. And nobody's going to tell you that like you yourself will tell you that.
If I can just walk one more mile after being in the worst shape of my entire life, this would change everything for me mentally going forward. From this kid who came from dirt, nothing, who couldn't read until he was a junior in high school and is now here. I walked a mile. I said, maybe I can walk one more mile. Maybe I can walk another mile. At mile 81, my ex-wife looked at me and said, you're not gonna make the time. When your mind knows it's not going to quit, and this is what I found out, this is my 40% rule. When your mind knows it's not going to quit, your body will adapt to whatever is in front of it. I ended up running 20 more miles. I did 101 miles in 19 hours and 6 minutes. And that one day changed, 19 hours. It wasn't SEAL training, it wasn't Ranger School, it wasn't Delta Force, it wasn't any of that crap I went through. It was this 19 hours and 6 minutes that forever changed my life to know that we as human beings are capable of anything. And we don't need any special kind of parents or tools to get there. So I end you with this. Don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're done. Thank you very much.
The energy it requires to start doing something is way more than the energy required to continue doing the thing. And that the beginning of doing anything results in the lowest amount of reward, both internal and external, than when you've been doing it for ages.
The most successful people live urgently. The most successful people are impatient. The most successful people have high expectations of themselves. The most successful people seem unrealistic and unreasonable in their expectations. And the most successful people are competitive. This is how it is.
I know who I am. Like losing, you find out who you are. And losing sucks, but in those moments, like when you're down, it's a great time to experience you. You know, because like when you're winning, you can get this momentum. When everything's going good, you can kind of get in that groove where you're just on cruise control, you know? But when you lose and the phone stops ringing and you're at home laying in bed going to sleep by yourself and everything, the dust settles, you know, that's when you experience yourself, who you really are.
I don't quit. You know, I may not make it the first time, but I'll come back. I got to call an audible. I got to get my head back in the game. I got to figure this shit out. It doesn't mean you leave. It means you study it more. And whenever I fail at something, people always say, man, how do you handle failure, man? I fail a lot, dude. I fail all the time. They go, how do you handle it? What I'm trying to do, and this isn't being, because I'm trying to do shit, man, that many people aren't trying to do, but I don't look at failure as failure. I look at failure as your first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. I don't look at anything as failure. Not trying is failure.
When you start at the bottom and you work your ass off throughout the year, you put a lot of time and effort into it. You know, you miss birthdays and you miss weddings and you miss Thanksgiving celebrations, you miss Christmases. You know, you get to the end of the year and you put a lot into it and you want to come out on top. And when you look at those rings and you look at those championship moments that you've had, you realize that all that sacrifice and all that commitment really paid off.
But it really all starts with who you are. You know, I always tell our players, who you are is more important than what you do. How high you jump, how fast you run, because who you are is your character. And your character is an accumulation of your thoughts, your habits, and your priorities on a day-to-day basis, because those three things determine the choices you make, and the choices you make you who you are. Good guy, bad guy, hardworking, lazy, responsible, irresponsible. And it takes a certain amount of discipline to do what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, the way it's supposed to get done.
They see I don't party, bro, I don't drink, I don't smoke, and they see that and they're like, bro, why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go have fun. But I'm having fun, and I try to tell them, like, don't let me affect what you do. I'm gonna be good regardless, but I'm comfortable who I am.
Sometimes you give your best, it's the next one. And just because you did it once, there's no certainty to anything in life. It doesn't mean you're gonna win it again, or a championship, or get a promotion. You actually have to work for it, and you have to earn it. There's nothing that's easy. There's nothing that's given. They don't hand you a championship belt. They don't hand you a championship ring. You gotta earn it.
So you're always trying to come up with reasons that you don't have to do it today. But if you're building the muscle either way. You're either building the muscle that says, I do what I say, I keep the commitments that I make, or you're building the muscle that says, I make excuses, I don't do what I say, I can't be counted on, right? And so when we think about discipline, it's really about like, what promises are you gonna keep? And the tricky thing is you're keeping promises to yourself that nobody even knows that you made, right? It's not like, hey, you made this commitment. If I don't write this book by this time, like, you know, I have to do this embarrassing thing, or, you know, then I'll retire. You know, you're not really putting your ass on the line in that sense, but you've said to yourself you're gonna do this thing, and building that muscle is really important.
What do successful people and unsuccessful people have in common? Here's what they have in common, okay? They both choose to go run out in the cold, dark morning. I do not like that. Successful people hate this stuff too, but they just do it anyway.